With Quartia Kuzan, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. I want to say good morning out there to Central Louisiana and all surrounding areas. At Natchitoches, Gina, and Alexandria. On 88.1 FM. My people out in Monroe, West Monroe on 98.9 FM. Shreveport, Greenwood on 92.5 FM. St. Joseph, Natchitoches, Mississippi on 99.3 FM, and Lake Charles on 100.1 FM. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And family, you can call in to the radio station to get in on any of our conversations or any talks that we're having at the local number 318-484-2500 or toll free at 877-464-2500. And also, don't forget to reach out to us on social media. In the moment, we're Quartia Kuzan. That's all through social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is that strikes your fancy. You can connect with us on that. But more importantly, why don't you go to our website at InTheMomentWithQuartiaKuzan.com. That's In The Moment, KORTIACOUSIN.com. And when you go there, you'll have a nice free gift that's waiting for you. Go ahead, get that free gift. And, of course, go and leave us a comment about something that you may want to hear about or, just to let us know that you're out there listening. Thank you. So yesterday we were actually talking on why do people fear success? Okay, why do people actually fear success? And I want to just wrap that up on today, on this Halfway There Wednesday. Why do people fear success? And, the biggest thing that, we actually came up with, and the most prevalent thing, the number one thing, the thing that would probably be on most people's checklist when it comes to being fearful of success, falls into the realm of where literally, figuratively, however you want to say it, scared of the unknown, okay? When you go into success, individually for each and every one of us, yes, I touched on you've got to have a plan, but, in the meantime, you need to be prepared that when you get into the realm of going towards, the success that's out there for you, to what God has in store for you, that, you need to expect there to be some type of tweaks, some type of twists, some type of turns, something that's going to actually alter your plan. And as I said before, I mentioned being back in the corporate world, and one of the main things that I remember, one of the main things that I even hold on to today when I was in the area of management, is that, something, you always had to treat, that profession as if you were actually playing chess, okay? Even though you may have walked through the front door with a plan, you had to always have a plan, steps laid out for like 5 moves ahead. Whether if you were missing an employee, or whether you had your plan to get all this certain work done during the course of a day, and then all of a sudden your supervisor said they needed this done, and it threw everything kind of tipsy-turvy when it came to your own plans. But one of the biggest things that you can do on your road to success is expect for bumps to be in the road. Expect for, things to actually try to slow down your progression towards your level of success. And, also expect, on your road to success, things may actually accelerate your plan faster than what you thought. And folks, look, we need to actually think about this. No matter what it is that's coming to us on our level of where we are in our pathway of being successful, we just need to realize that we need to be able to adapt to it. We need to actually get out there and actually do what's necessary to adjust our lives to actually accommodate, where God is actually taking us. And you might say, what do you mean accommodate my lives? Isn't they going to put things out of order? Well, no. If you're actually going along a pathway of success that the Lord has actually laid out for you, then He's going to direct you in a way to where it's going to have that equal balance that we spoke of, to where you're not going to have so much focus on being successful to where it's going to take away from your family, friends, church, whatever it is that's out there. You're going to have an equal balance. And one of the other things that cause people to really fear success is that you get these new opportunities, you get a promotion. But then, of course, when you get these things, guess what? Even with new opportunities, even with promotion, there are going to be challenges that actually present themselves. And, you know, you're going to love having all of these great things happen to you. But what ends up usually happen? Then you start the thinking process. You know, I've heard so many people that actually when they got promoted on the job, think about this. You're working $10 an hour. Okay, let's just say you're working $10 an hour. And then all of a sudden, because of the great job you're doing, you're proactive instead of reactive. You know, you're doing this. Supervisors never have to ask you for anything. You're giving them things ahead of time, and they're just all inspired with you. And then all of a sudden they say, well, you know something, because of your work ethic, all that you've been doing, we want you to be manager over this certain areas, this certain division, you know, because you've proven yourself. And you go from $10 an hour and they want you to get to maybe a $50,000 to $60,000 a year salary. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, it's going to be a lot more responsibility. And this is stuff we usually think to ourselves, but I can do it. But what ends up happening, a lot of times these so-called people that are really close to you at the job, they'll start saying, oh, wow, I wouldn't want to be in your position. I mean, wow, the money sounds great, but, you know, you've got to be over all of these employees. And you know how such and such acts. I mean, they come in late like almost every single day. And you know you're going to have to do this, and you know you're going to have to do that. And wow, you see how you're going to have all these extra duties. And, man, when you're going to have time for your family, you know, and all this stuff starts to get thrown at you and heaped up against you. And that's one of the things that the enemy tries to do, okay? One of the things that we really don't realize, those little subtle things, those little foxes, as we say, that nip at the vine to try to detract and get you off course. It's almost like this, okay? Get this visual in your mind because, like I said, first partaker, because this is what I used to do, okay? It's almost as if God was sending one of his angels, okay? And they came in front of you with a silver platter with this blessing that just was like, wow, it would just like change and shift your life to a whole nother level. And just because you allow the enemy to actually get you to see that it was going to take a little effort, a little work, a little of you know, getting out of a comfort zone area, you start to look at not the blessing, but you start looking at what would be considered the total opposite of that blessing, and you start to focus on that. And it's almost as if you're telling that angel as if, you know, like a waiter coming at your table. No, I don't want this. No, thank you. Just because you've got this false sense of, you know, what it's actually going to be to actually receive that particular breakthrough, that particular blessing in your life. But guess what? When God presents you with something, just take it. There are no strings attached, okay? There are no strings attached with it. It's not that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and give you this with this hand, but, hey, if you really saw what I needed you to go ahead and do with the other hand, you wouldn't want to accept it. I mean, God isn't like that. And like I said, not trying to be preachy with anyone because this show is just for everyone that's out there. But what you really need to realize is don't overlook your opportunities, okay? Don't be fearful of your opportunities. Don't be fearful of your blessings. Don't be fearful of taking that step to go towards success just because of what you perceive that it looks like as opposed to what it really is, okay? Because we continually are going to have those little voices on the inside of us that, you know, remind us that, hey, you're going to be against competition that's going to be out there, or it's going to be something that you've never done before. Family, let me tell you, when you are walking into something that you've never done before, I mean, that's actually something now that I can actually say that puts a smile on my face. Because I asked God, well, let me know if it's something that comes from you. I don't want to miss the boat, okay? I don't want to miss the mark in any kind of way. I don't want to be led astray, you know, by my own thought processes. And what I found out that with me and my family and the realm of the circles that he's putting us in now, and because I asked him really in faith, that everything that's been happening to us, it's stuff that we've not done before ever. I mean, I've said that before, but even me speaking to you now on this subject matter, I mean, I personally coach people on a one-on-one basis in these things, but I have really never shared this out over the airwaves with people. So this is something that's really new for me right now. But the thing is that we have to grab hold of those things that we have actually never done before. I mean, it may take more time. Okay, there may be a learning curve. You know, and I actually said before that the thing that's interesting is the millionaire that gave me the advice before I got on the airwaves, and she just said, "Hey, Court, just be yourself." That was her advice that she gave me. And the other thing that she always told all of us, you know, because each and every one of us, even though I'm a mentor has their own mentor, okay? So don't think that because you have someone in your life and they're a mentor that they're not being mentored for someone else. So she actually said that if you want to learn a new skill, if you want to acquire a new skill, set aside 5 hours in a day. Now, this is going to set somebody free right here. Set aside 5 hours, uninterrupted hours in a day. And based upon whatever that new skill is that you want to actually, you know, get taught, what you want to learn, focus on that one skill for 5 hours. And at the end of that 5 hours, you may not be a master in doing XYZ, but guess what? You will have a really good working knowledge of what it takes to flow in that particular area. And then guess what? You've actually learned a new skill. You've added it to your arsenal of things. You've increased your value, and you're able to just go out there and put it to use towards your pathway of success. And you might say, well, what's a big example of that? Well, I'm talking to you over the airwaves right now, and, you know, it kept leading up to me to get into video editing and, you know, things with sound. I mean, it just kind of makes sense. You know, you're in media, you're on the air, so why not get more of a hands-on on it? So what I ended up doing personally is, you know, getting different software as far as like for my computer to where I can edit my own music and videos and do all of these different things. And then all of a sudden, you know, I took the time to actually go through that, and it's like I've got a working knowledge. Now, can I go out there and personally make TV commercials and everything that you see on like television now? I'm not at that stage yet, but hey, it's a progression. But it took me getting out of my comfort zone and making my mind up that, hey, I want to actually acquire this new skill set because I see how it's going to play or help me down the road. And that's what we really need to do. We really need to look at that. And then, of course, you know, we really need to realize that we shouldn't have this, I'm going to say, approval rating, okay? We shouldn't have to measure what we need to do by the approval rating of others. I already told you, family, the thing that you really need to realize is that when you start doing something new and it's out of the norm of the people that you actually hang out with, it's going to be something that's not only going to make you feel uncomfortable, but it's going to make them feel uncomfortable. Because why? It shows that you're progressing past the limitations that they've not only set for themselves, but they've also set for you. So when we come back, we're going to get right back into why do people fear success on the second part on this Halfway There Wednesday. And folks, guess what? If you didn't realize it, you're in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Quartia Kuzad. Wow, what a great time in the studio today. Hey, why don't you call in to us and chat with us? Local number 318-484-2500. Toll free 877-464-2500. And we're talking about wrapping up on this Halfway There Wednesday. Why do people fear success? The second portion of that. We left out before break and we were talking about, you know, comfort zones and being uncomfortable with individuals around you, and how a lot of times that what you actually find that as you progress and what God is calling you to do, especially when you've actually, you know, been taught to learn new skill sets, that, you know, it may be to the point of the individuals that are around you, and I'm going to say inadvertently or, you know, unintentionally, they actually start telling you things that, let's just say they're saying this out of love and concern, just because, well, they're basing it off experience of things that, you know, they never did before. They may not have ever seen anyone do it before, but you're starting to go down a pathway, you know, of your own success. And at first, you know, I've seen that it may be concern for you. But then on the opposite side of that, it starts to be concerned for themselves, because it really starts to show, you know, their own shortcomings in how they've allowed themselves to fall into basically a mundane life, a life that's just barely getting by, a life of just, you know, existing that's out there. And I mean, you could say that's like coworkers, you can say friends, you could say family out there. I mean, what we actually, one of the biggest things that I want you to realize is that, and we said this on a previous broadcast, but we're going to bring it back up. Okay, you think about this right now, wherever you are. And you're probably saying, I'm so tired of hearing that, he's stressing that. But guess what? It needs to get drilled in. It needs to just really get solidified within yourself. But you need to do something today, okay? Today. And today doesn't mean a year from now, okay? Today means today, all right? Today only means one thing, today. So you need to do something today that makes your future self proud of you, okay? This time next year, when you look back, and a year from now, because of the decision, and okay, it's a decision, but guess what? You still have to take steps when you make the decision, all right? It's one thing to say, hey, I'm going to be successful, and then all of a sudden, you don't do anything to get that, make your way, I should say, walking towards success. And, especially if you yelled up to, okay, God, I made the decision to be successful, and then you haven't done anything on your part, and then you turn around and you want to just charge God falsely. I mean, that's just like a trick of the enemy right there. But what are you actually going to do to be successful? And family, I'm just going to be real with you. A lot of times we actually have family members that will, like I said, they'll start out being concerned because you're going into, that new area, that level of taking a new path, taking this scary position. And, people have actually left great jobs, as we said before, to start their own businesses. And I'm not just going to tell you, yes, they instantaneously went out there and it was an automatic success, okay? 9 times out of 10, when people step out on faith like that, it takes some work. You've got to build it from the ground up. It takes you making connections. It takes people actually, getting to actually know you. It takes a lot of different things, okay? If it's something that you haven't been doing while you are actually working on the job, then yes, it's going to take a little bit of effort. But what is the consequence of that? Think of the fruit that's going to be bear from that. Think of how you can actually set up a legacy for your children and your children's children. Yes, will it take some work? It may take what a lot of people would equate to some hard work, but overall, what would it be to you to actually not have to hit that alarm clock at a certain time every single day? Go to a job, okay? And yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to get a lot of you out there that's under the sound of my voice to that spirit of entrepreneurship that's on you right now. Go ahead and get those businesses started. But what would it be to get out there, okay, and not be subservient to that electronic rooster that you want to punch through the wall every single morning when it goes off, okay? And then all of a sudden you've set your own schedule. You might say, well, if you have your own business, then you've got to get up at the same time each and every day because, you've got your own business. I said in the beginning, but it's the smart entrepreneur that later down the road starts to train people to help them realize their dreams when they start working for them. To where instead of you having full hands-on, you actually have people that help oversee the operations of what you're doing. But that's a whole nother topic in itself, okay? So what is it right now that's actually going to get you out of, your comfort zone, to actually stop you from being fearful of, your success? Now, you can have people that are always telling you they're admiring your capability. You can be comfortable right now with what you're doing. You can go home at the reasonable hour, from your job. You can be highly rated and, get all the praise at the workplace. And there are so many different things that I actually get you to say, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and just stay on a job. Hey, it's working out for me. I could stick with it about, the next 10 years, 15, 20 years. But then, all of a sudden, this one thing happens to where, as it works out with a lot of individuals in the corporate world today, unfortunately, that, when that word that a lot of us have probably heard, downsizing, and what that generally means is that we're going to go for the individual that comes in, for less amount of money, even though you have a greater skill set, but, to meet that bottom line that they're looking for when it's all about profit. But guess that could be the catalyst that actually gets you out of your comfort zone. And I know before, we had things that just went on. We're not going to dwell on that happened with the government and so on. And, I made the comment, the On Point Talk with Carlette Christmas at how a lot of times we actually see and look at things as being bad. Okay, we actually look and see and look at things as being bad. And we don't actually check the opportunities that are actually on the inside of those things. We don't see exactly how we possibly could improve, like I said, our skill sets, or maybe I can go ahead and finally start taking steps towards, getting an LLC. Now, this is what you call stepping out on faith, okay? To where at one point in time before we even got our own business, it was just a matter of my wife and I, we just registered to get an LLC with the state. Why? Because we knew one day we were going to be in business, so why wait? It was like I said, a step in faith and believing what God actually spoke to us. And, sometimes it takes that. Sometimes people will actually look at you and actually say, well, why are you doing these things? I mean, you're not in business, but you're putting money out on these different things. So why are you doing this? Because it's called preparation. Preparation is one of the key things when it comes to being successful. Not only do you need to have preparation on the inside, but you need to have preparation on the outside. But you always need to be increasing. And family, when we come back from break, we're going to get right back into this. And I'm so happy to know that you're right now in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Courtier Kuzan. Talking about why do people fear success, the second installment of that. Family, you can reach out to us to put in your tidbits, give us some feedback at our local number, 318-484-2500, and toll free at 877-464-2500. And we'll be hitting on some really great subject matter up in here. And a lot of us right now, I know you're listening. I really do. Because whether you're calling on the phone lines right now, we're getting feedback in the streets about how these topics are really, resonating with a lot of people. We're getting feedback over social media and how all of these things, you're like right in the midst of, what I'm going through. I mean, you're like the sugar in my Kool-Aid, however the topics that have been happening. But, it's what's really important is that what you hear, you're not just listening to what's being said, but you're actually taking it, and you're taking it as that stepping stone, as I continually say, to actually help catapult you and get you to where you need to be on your pathway to success. And a lot of your family out there, I know you have family members that are out there, and they seem to have your, best interests at heart, okay? I know this, like I said, we've all gone through this. Now, really look around you, and you're going to have to, one point in time in your life, decide, okay, who's right here that's actually trying to help me get propelled into my pathway of success so I can stop being fearful of my level, the success that I actually really want to go into, and those that may be actually trying to hold me back. And you might always say, well, look, I need my family. My family is right there with me. I mean, family is everything. And I agree with you. Family is everything. And the reason I know family is everything is right here in the studio audience right now. Like I said, I've got my family with me, okay? And you might say, wow, your family's with you like that early in the morning? Yes, they are. Because you want to know, they've caught on to the vision that God has given me, that God has given each and every one of us. Everything's tied together. And we're all working together in unison to bring about this vision. But we have to do our portion of what's necessary for this to happen. And you might say, well, I need my family as my support system. I'm not saying family continually just to say family. If for whatever reason, for all of you that are under the sound of my voice, if it just seems like, your family, your close friends, seem like they're not being as supportive, you have a support system right here, okay, and in the moment. You really have a support system. That's when you can actually call in. That's when you can actually ask for tips. That's when you can actually do what's necessary to say, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Hey, have you ever known about this situation, this scenario? Why is it that I'm not being supported in this way by family or friends? We're here to be a blessing unto you. As I said each and every time, it's not just about us having a radio program. It's about all of us under the sound of my voice and that are in the studio. This is our radio program. And one of the things I want to bring out to you and why people may fear success is that, is it that maybe that you are, how can I say, you focus on what's making you actually hesitate, What's making you hesitate in making that jump? What's actually making you hesitate to go forward? Are we actually looking on the inside of us? What are the things that we don't want to actually acknowledge that's on the inside of us that will actually set us free to actually start walking in our pathway of success? And you might say, well, I really don't have anything. I mean, it's just a matter of me just saying, well, when I want to or not want to. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that, okay? For a lot of people under the sound of my voice, it may just be that simple for some of you, but for most of us, and this was what the case for me, is that there may actually be something that's transpired as far as like in your past, okay? Something that you may have actually seen that may be a block, something that's causing you to hesitate to actually take that step forward, to actually progress your life. I mean, it was something in my life, you know, and not being specific, that stopped me from growing more so, you know, emotionally as a man, that happened years ago. And that I'm not going to say forgot about, but because of whatever happened, I pushed it deep down on the inside of me. And, you know, at the appointed time for when God knew that this had to be addressed, that it had to basically be destroyed, that he brought it to my remembrance, and there was a healing that actually took place on me, and then things just started to progress. I mean, they just got faster in my life. But until I actually addressed this one particular issue that had nothing to do, okay, and I'm going to just make this point known, it had nothing to do with this pathway of, you know, radio, television, anything to do with media, you know, it had nothing to do with any of that. But it was something that was a big block in my life that not only hindered me personally, but it was hindering things in me professionally. And I didn't realize it. But once that was actually addressed and once that was actually taken care of, not only did God open this doorway right now for you to listen under the sound of my voice, but other things started to happen in other areas of my life. So I would actually invite you to really look at your life. I mean, I'm talking really look at your life, okay? And a lot of the things right now, okay, I know that it may be hurtful, but there may be some things in our lives that we actually have to address that actually allows us to see that may be the thing that's been hindering us from making the decision to go forward along our pathways of success, okay? The things that have made you hesitant, the things that you may have this voice that's just looming in your mind, and for something that may have been traumatic in your life, and you just keep hearing the voice of this one particular individual, whoever it is, okay? And it's just saying you're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to do this. Hey, like I said, first partake, I remember growing up, look, I was always told by someone that, you know, was close to me, you know, you're never going to amount to anything. You know, I was overweight when I was younger. You know, you're too fat to do this. You're too fat to do that. Nobody's going to want you to do this. Why don't you go ahead and do this? So on, so forth, and so on. And that stuck with me all the way up until I got into athletics and football. And then, of course, you know how it is. I'm just going to bring this up. When you start to be successful in the area, those people that actually started putting you down, just so it gives them some type of, and this just blows my mind away when I see this happen. They'll people that actually put you down in the beginning, and they may be a so-called quote-unquote friend, family member, or someone that you may have worked with, that as you start to achieve levels of success, they'll be like, oh, yes, I know them. Yes, we're really close. Yeah. And people that may actually want to get in contact with you to help progress your level of success, these people all of a sudden become, they become your unofficial manager, as you'd want to say, to, you know, promote themselves, to try to give them a little credibility at how they may have, you know, helped shape you, you know, whatever it may be. And then, you know, you can actually have a conversation with these individuals once you start to, you know, become aware of who you really are and really aware of who you really are and what God wants to do in your life. And they will actually try to validate. And I know I'm not the only one that's going to say, yeah, you're right. They will actually try to validate at why they treated you so bad when you were growing up, or so bad, you know, when you were working with them, whatever season it was, they will actually try to validate why they treated you so bad, and how, and them doing that was the main thing that caused you to be successful right now. Okay? Don't believe that. Okay? Don't believe that. You can actually use that. You can actually grow from that, but don't believe a lie of that sort. So what is the thing that's actually causing you to hesitate to make the decision to actually move forward in your pathway of success. Okay. Now, another thing, do you actually place more value on other commitments instead of your pathway of success? Now, okay, I'm not talking about family time. I think you ought to pretty much know right now. I'm not talking about the things that actually, what I would say would actually supersede, you taking the steps on your pathway to success. But since I just mentioned family time, if you are actually, okay, man, listen to this. Woman, listen to this, okay? Entrepreneurs, whoever's listening right now, all right, under the sound of my voice, if you've actually included your family in what you're doing, and they're with you, okay, and they're just being supportive of you, just like, my family that's in the studio with me right now. When you have included them and you actually say, well, I need to start working on this, they already know. Because they already know that you're not just doing it for you, it's something that you're doing not only for yourself, but for them as well. And you're laying out an inheritance for generations and everything to come. So do you actually place more value on commitments, other commitments instead of your pathway to success? Think about it. What are you doing? And, one of the biggest things that people say when it comes to, when it comes to doing what's necessary to walk into success, I don't have the time. I really don't have the time to put forth. And what I found out is that now, present day, I've spoken with people while, a hard day at work or whatever that they're doing. I come home, I unwind. Oh, wow. I have to wind down from the stress. I sit down, take a couple hours in front of the television and talk. And, it sounds like it's just, okay, they've done everything that needs to happen to pretty much, calm themselves down. But think about how much time you're actually spending in front of the television each and every week. Okay, think about how much time you're actually surfing as far as like on, social media. Okay, think about all the times you may actually be at your job. Okay, and you are doing your lunch break as you're eating your lunch. Okay, you're on your lunch break, it's your time, but you're actually just listening to just music or, watching something or doing something that doesn't pertain to you instead of listening to motivational video, some type of recording, reading a book that'll enrich you. There are opportunities out there each and every time. I mean, right now, even under the sound of my voice, for you that are driving or doing whatever you're doing right now, this is enriching you. Whether you realize it or not, it's actually helping you. Because why? It's actually sparking and touching on things that have been probably planted in you that you didn't even realize. And it may be actually igniting that ember that seemed like it was about to go out that's on the inside of you. But it's like, when you see a fire that's about to go out, what do? You go up to it. Sometimes you start fanning it, right? You want to start fanning it. So you can consider me speaking to you. I'm trying to get that ember. I'm fanning it right now. I'm trying to get that fire to get ablazed on the inside of you. Because you know something, you are more than what you perceive you are at this point in time in your life. And I mean, that's big, that's powerful. I even have to say that for myself. And you might say, well, you seem to have it all together. Look at what the Lord has done in your life. No person has it all together. I don't care exactly how they are. I don't care if you're starting out right now, you're making minimum wage. It doesn't matter if you're someone that's making a 6-figure salary, 7-figure, 8-figure, whatever your income bracket. No one has it all together. No matter what level an individual is on, no one has it all together, okay? Everyone has their own stories. Everyone has their own challenges. Everyone has different opportunities. Everyone has different obstacles. But guess what? It's always going to be there based upon your level. It really is. It's going to be there based upon your level. Now, just as we do with God, I mean, we know that, some plant the seed, some water the seed, but then also the thing that's really evident is that God's going to reap the increase from it. But in turn, as God is reaping the increase from this, then guess what? It's not just an increase that's going to benefit him, but it's going to be an increase that's going to increase you. And why? Because as we increase, it's going to be a reflection of him. So we need to realize that we need to stop being fearful of success, because success is really a reflection of God. This is powerful. This is powerful. This is very powerful. And what we need to do now, folks, is realize, take what we've been saying and utilize it, because you're in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Quartia Kuzan. We're up in here today talking about why do people fear success? And you know, my producer, lovely producer over there, hey, she's waving each and every one of you. I'm just know you're picking it up over the airwaves. That this subject matter that we've been talking about today, it seems to be just really hard hitting, and that it really reaches a lot of people out there. And I mean, God is just really downloading things in my spirit at how all the obstacles and the things that we've actually gone through, and how, you know, people, the enemy, circumstances, whatever you want to, however you want to verbalize it, the things that we had to go through to get to this particular point. And not only the things that we had to go through, the things that are trying, and I'm going to stress trying, to throw themselves in our pathway right now. But, you know, it was one time to where you actually tried to move around those things. But what I like right now is that God has us to where we don't try to move around them. We just step right over them. Okay, you got to put it, go ahead and put that one under your heel. Okay, but what is it, like I said, as before we went to break, about what caused you to actually, you know, hesitate, to actually, you know, place more value on what it is to be more committed to your pathway of success? And then, of course, in the even with that, you know, what's actually the thing that's actually holding you back? I mean, I know we said something that may have been deep rooted, that's on the inside of you. And, you know, we're really going to want to get into that just a little bit more. And what I really want to bring out is this, okay? And this is going to be hard for some of you. It was something I actually had to do myself. And like I said, I'm going to let you know real deal, all right? I'm not sugarcoating anything with you. Think of the greatest fear, all right? I want you to think of the greatest fear in your life right now. Just think of the greatest fear. That one thing that just could traumatize you. I mean, just think about it. What has been the greatest fear in your life? Now, you thought about it? Now think about how to use that fear to your advantage. You know, I say, what do you mean use that fear to your advantage? Okay, for whatever reason, let's just say you actually had a fear of speaking in front of people. And then all of a sudden you were put in a position to where you know, as long as you were not in a crowd, you spoke to people on one-on-one basis, maybe 5 people at most, and you were very eloquent in what you were actually saying, and, you know, you addressed different subject matter. But then all of a sudden you were, say, like an assistant to someone that was possibly well known. I'm just using this as an example. And for whatever reason, they could not, you know, get to the speaking forum where they were, and they were going to be, say, like 20 minutes late. And the one that was like heading the speaking forum just actually said, what are we going to do? We're going to lead this. I mean, all of these people here are waiting. And then all of a sudden you got up there, and this is your moment to shine. And you're like, well, not me, public speaking. There's no way this is going to happen with me. But then you got comfortable because you just addressed subject matter that you were really, you know, knowledgeable on. And it turned into like that subject matter, not only were you knowledgeable upon, to where the person that you were actually subbing for came up and they spoke on your subject matter. But then all of a sudden, as you know, the program was over with, someone would actually come up and touch you on the shoulder and say, hey, I really like what you were saying. Would you consider actually speaking at such and such forum? See, we never know what it is that when we actually conquer what our greatest fear is, how it will actually open a door for us, because we fail to realize that there's hidden opportunity in a lot of things that we actually call, or as we actually present, to be fearful. You might say, what caused you? Okay, Court, what caused you to make the decision to actually just really turn the corner? Okay. And like I said, I'm going to be real with you. I mean, we're in our house, okay, and things are happening. And believe me when I tell you, no matter what level you get to, you're going to come to points to where you're going to have certain battles, okay? You're going to have battles possibly with yourself. You're going to have to get over these mindsets or things that are trying to creep into your mind. And this was my big battle. Everything that I saw progressing, everything that God told me, all the steps that I was actually saying, and then all of a sudden, it's just like out the blue, it seemed. It was just like this tidal wave just came, this tsunami just came and said, you are never going to be successful in anything you're going to do. You're a failure. And it started just roll calling all of these different things that have happened in my family, like for years, things that have happened with people that have tried all of these different things. And family, I'm going to tell you, it hit me. I mean, it hit me hard. I mean, it, as they say, it rocked my knees when all of this stuff came to me. And then it started actually bringing things back up to me when people told me personally about how I didn't amount to anything. But then all of a sudden, I yelled out, and I just yelled out one word. I remember this, like it was yesterday. I just yelled out Jesus. And it wasn't that scripture just came out, and all I heard was this other voice that just came on, not just in my mind. The things that was coming to me was in my mind, but it was like in my heart, in my spirit. It actually just said, well, what did I tell you? I mean, it was very, very stern. What did I tell you? And then based upon that, all I remember, I didn't just say it, okay? I yelled out, okay? I mean, it was to the point I had the dogs or whatever that were barking and everything with me because I yelled so loud. I am a success. That was it. I am a success. But if you really want to know, I said, I am a success, and on the inside of me, I am a success in Christ Jesus. But it was, I am a success. And it was when I actually declared that and got out and said, no matter what someone tries to bring against me, no matter what happens, no matter what thought tries to come in my mind, I am a success based upon that. And it was like those voices that kept trying to paint this picture of how, inadequate, or how people, how basically tried to make me feel like I was less than dirt, okay? All of that left. And then it's just like all of a sudden, all of these things in my mind just started opening about these different opportunities that were actually there, and how I actually closed myself off personally to what was always in front of me, just because I did not want to see those things, because that one thing, that one great obstacle that was really in my life, I told you about the emotional past thing, but it was another obstacle that was in my life, is that I actually didn't realize that once you're on your pathway to success, it's not you actually going and doing things that make you successful. You're successful when you actually decide that you're successful, okay? When your entire mental state changes, then guess what? Everything that's on the outside has got to follow and take shape of what you have on the inside. The bigger your picture, the bigger your outlook, the bigger the manifestation of things that are going to happen in your life. But, like scripture says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you see yourself small, then you're going to try to aspire to small things in your life. If you see yourself medium-sized, guess what? Medium-sized things. If you see yourself as achieving great things, then great things are going to happen for you. It's just like in the Bible with the men that had the talents. One had 5, one had 2, another had 1. The one that had 5 doubled, the one that had 2 doubled. And we know that's talking about in the financial realm. But then the one that had the 1 talent that really didn't see what he had as great, what did he do? He hid it. So how many of us right now are trying to hide our talents, the abilities that we have, the things that will actually help us to get to our levels of success, because we don't see ourselves as being significant enough to actually capitalize and go forward with those things? Family, this is real deal here. This is the time and point in your life that's going to cause the transition. And like I said, I'm not sharing this just because I'm trying to just pump you up and bump you up. Right now, you're in a point in time in your life to where, it's decision-making time. It really is. It's decision-making time. We cannot keep going through the same circle over and over and over again, okay? It's like people that, when I was a kid, I used to use, what is it called? Those merry-go-rounds. There you go. You get on those merry-go-rounds, you're on that little horse or whatever it is that's on there, and you're like, yeah. And you seem to be on the side of somebody and you're making progress, but then what happens? You get right back to that same point all over again. Why? Because all you're doing is the same thing over and over. And a lot of us are on a merry-go-round in our lives right now. And just letting you know, it's the things that we're doing right now that's actually causing us to actually have that fear of success. But what happens when you finally decide to say, hey, I'm going to get off of this merry-go-round, but I'm going to get on that roller coaster, which is going to be like a roller coaster of life. And it's going to take you somewhere to where you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. But eventually, your downs are going to be more so up than anything that's ever happened into your life. And then when the next person comes to you, like I said, you're going to be able to teach one and reach one and pass on a legacy that's going to be impactful for the rest of your life. Folks, don't allow fear to be that thing that stops you from walking in to your God-given calling. I thank you all for being with me today on this Halfway There Wednesday, and we'll tune in tomorrow for Thursday, and we'll see you in the moment with Quartier Kuzan. Take care, family, and God bless.